Are you a professional pillow fighter? Or a 9-to-5 low-cost time travel agent? Or maybe real estate sales on Mars is your profession? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, however complex or intricate, Monday.com can help you organize, orchestrate, and make it more efficient. Monday.com is the one centralized platform for everything work-related. And with Monday.com, work is just easier. Monday.com, for whatever you run. Go to Monday.com to learn more.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer. So let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited. I'm excited today. I have very interesting guests, but this guest today, I have known him since I started he was doing stand-up way before me and was a rock star when I started in like 1982, 83. He was already a rock star and tall and hot. His career is beyond phenomenal, but his life is so fascinating, which, I did all my research. So I am thrilled. And he has a headphone from 1970 when he first started, No, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Rick Overton is here. Woo!
Thank you, Judy. Love you, Judy.
I love you. Rick, you're so... Okay, so, I do a lot of research because I love people's stories. Your childhood, to me, is so fascinating. First of all, you were born in Forest Hills. You grew up in Englewood, New Jersey, right?
There's a story to it. There's a story.
Yeah, I know. There's a Disney Gillespie story. I know everything about you. Okay. Father, mother, younger brother. Your father, it's just like, I can't even believe these are your parents. Your father was the band arranger for Thelonious Monk, among so many others, taught at Juilliard, taught at Yale, created sort of bebop, jazz, like such a major influence. Your mother, whose given name is Anne, but she went by Nancy, was a singer. And she was in the Chordettes, the Cordettes? Cordettes. Is it the chord? Look, I have a piano. Yeah, the Cordettes.
Right.
Lollipop, and the song Lollipop and Mr. Sandman.
Yeah.
And your parents, your mother didn't stop performing until she had, your brother and decided. Steve. Yeah. So,
who has turned out to be a stupendous musician and has a lot of stuff on YouTube.
I don't know why.
It jumped over me. I kept a little of the timing and I just used it differently.
Now, your mother, I would like to say that, your mother was born Anne Swan, but she's known as Swain. I didn't see the I because I write like shit. But was known as Nancy Swain Overton. I want to start with your grandparents, your mother's parents. Your mother's father was a physicist, and your mother's mother was played piano and was a suffragette.
She was a suffragette. She was a badass from the early century.
Did you ever meet them?
Yeah,
you did. Okay, you got to tell me about your. Yeah.
Grandpa didn't live that long, but Grandma went a little longer way. He had a stroke, and so he died peacefully in sleep at the age of 67, and Grandma went on to be 88.
So what was your did you see them? What was your because my grandmother, that's the Jew bell. Anytime I mention anything Jewish, I ring a bell. So my grandmother, Dorothy, was born in 1896. And she lived till I was 25, and I shared a bedroom with her on the weekends. She came to visit every weekend, and I I had the biggest room because I was a baby. No, but I shared a room with her. And, you know, she was 24 when women got the right to vote. You know, I had 25 years with a woman who was from a different time, had experienced, you know. So were you close with your grandmother, or did you you were?
Yeah, not so much with Dad's mom. And we didn't go to visit as much, and she wasn't the same sort of outgoing individual.
Right.
She was a stoic farm life person. And Pop Overton, they were very quiet and sort of kept to themselves on the farm there in Kalamazoo. But no, Grandma, we called her Diffie, Edith. We called her Diffie, you know. She came out of sort of an Ivy League setting. And she didn't go for it so much, you know.
Right.
Not every element of it was suitable for her at a time when every element was supposed to be.
Right.
And so she put up resistance in places where people had not seen any such thing. And Grandpa was kind of this chill physicist guy. And what I mean by chill is, you know, he was very, very high up cleared guy. He was at the Bimini nuclear test. And
oh my God.
They wanted him to participate on the Manhattan Project, but he was of the school that you set these off, you run the risk of turning Earth into a star because maybe they don't stop and they chain react and eat Earth.
Right.
And he was mistaken about that, but they still had clearance with him. He had full eye. He could walk on the Nautilus when it was brand new, you know, that kind of stuff. So he was way up there, you know, and he was the editor of Power Magazine for many years. Now, you want to hear a crazy story?
Yes.
My mom saw Hitler.
Oh my God. This is my favorite episode ever. Are you kidding? Oh, I don't know why I rang the Jew bell.
Yeah,
but
the government,
whatever.
the German government was wooing American scientists in the 30s.
Yep.
And so our government approached him and said, you have to go in and bring your family to give this a legitimate look. And you need to go take a look at what he's building that is breaking the Versailles Treaty. And then you got to come back after he is showing off to you and dining and wining you. And you got to come back and you got to get out of there somehow. And you got to get back and say what he's doing. And so my grandpa was one of the people to say he's building up.
And
my mom saw all the people milling around the streets until they all formed this line and guards started forming a line and everyone got scared and stiffed and all threw their right arm in the air. Mom couldn't really see. She's looking through people because she's a little girl, but she looked through and she saw this 1930s car go by and there he is with the hand going by and that was it. And she saw him for a second, you know, and they were staying with a German officer who had a Jewish mistress and she was not identified as such. And he was protecting her and she was helping my grandparents get out of Germany. And so they put all their asses on the line to get him out. But if they got, that's why I'm here. They got out.
So, that is fucking fascinating.
There's a lot of several people did. They're not the only ones. He's not the one.
Right. But just the fact that your mother,
everywhere.
So she must have, what was she like? 10, 11 years? Like how was she? Was
6, something like 6.
Oh, she was 6. Okay. Wow. That's
early 30s, you know, early
and
mid-30s.
She never forgot that image, which is
okay. Well,
I mean, I know, but wow.
And so he brought up information about the fact that these airliners are not just airliners.
Right.
That no way are you loading luggage through these big drop swinging doors in the bottom of an airliner like that.
Right.
It's not luggage.
Right.
That's not for luggage.
Wow.
And so they're making bombers and putting windows on the side to make them look like airliners from a photograph. So you can't tell. And then they just paint them German and then they're a bomber. So wise up, everybody. And we didn't build our Air Force up in time. We had the weakest Air Force of all the countries.
That is incredible. Wow. I don't even know what to say. I'm just shocked. I just, oh my God. So your grandfather had dinner with Hitler or
large groups of scientists. He was with a large group of scientists. It wasn't a separate thing. It was with a row of guys from America, from England, from different places that were coming out briefly to visit.
Checking the whole situation out.
England got hip, man. They started building Spitfires and Hurricanes right away. They go, okay, get to work, everybody. It's on. We didn't. We thought, we're big America. We're too far away from them.
Oh, really? I don't think much has changed from that point. What do you think your grandfather would think about this global warming and climate change? I mean, yeah,
he's a smart man. He would have, he did think about Earth first. I mean, even his decision about nuclear weapons was sort of a choose the planet first and go a little slower into this venture with breaking an atom.
Well, that's way ahead of his time. Oh my God, I am.
Scientists were men of reason, or women of reason. Madame Curie, whoever, who would put themselves at risk first, like Madame Curie, and be the one to be experimented upon. And the thing about corporate science, which has sort of replaced regular science these days, corporate science doesn't enter with the same motives. Corporate science is you do everything to find A, rather than you go out search for the alphabet. And it's about learning. This isn't about learning. This is about forcing and even lying to make an A fit in an A-hole.
Right. You know, my great uncle, Joseph Goldberger, cured pellagra. And he also worked for the government. He went down south where all these low income people were dying. And he infected himself. He proved that it wasn't contagious, and it was actually a vitamin deficiency that was causing all these people to die down south. And
what a hero!
Yeah, and
what a real deal hero!
Right?
Wow.
So I got a little,
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and his wife, he ended up dying, and his wife was his assistant, and she was left with nothing. And she petitioned Congress to get a pension. Like, she's the first person to say, look, I was working with my husband on this. I got to support my family now. And she petitioned Congress. And
wow.
Right. That's right, Tim.
What's her name? What's his name?
His name's Joseph Goldberger, Dr. Joseph Goldberger.
Dr. Goldberger.
And he gave my mother, who was born in 22, her vaccines. Vaccines, people, you fucking idiots. You stupid fucking fucks. Anyway.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Your mom, she grew up in Grand Rapids. Is that correct? No, Did someone grow up in Grand Rapids? Wait, I have a whole
Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Michigan. That was Dad.
That was your
Dad
father
on the farm.
Right. So
that
your
was
father's
the Overton
on the farm,
which then got bought up by a much bigger tract of land, and that was it for farming.
And your father's high school music teacher recognized a gift in him and said, and sent him to Chicago Musical College. His hands, he had beautiful hands.
Span. It was it was a football throw,
Wow. That's like my son, and I wanted him to play piano. Yeah.
Claw. He can he palm the ball?
Yeah, he plays college basketball, yeah. But huge hands. But it's so it's interesting because your father had a teacher who recognized this, who set him on a path, which, that's why teachers are so fucking important. And, Irving Berlin was sent to get lessons. And the teacher said, no, I'm not going to fuck with this. And there you go. So it's So now we've discussed scientists and teachers. Okay. And who are treated like the shittiest shit in our country right now, scientists and teachers. Okay. So your father met your mother working, right?
Tommy Tucker and his two-timers.
Tommy Tucker and his
moonlighting. He was moonlighting the Keys for Tommy Tucker and his two-timers, and met Mom when she was singing with them. And Mom was one of the Ray Heatherton's Heathertones, and on the Burt Park Show. And so she was in the earliest days of black and white TV. She was not one of the original quartets. We'll get to that later, but she was one of the original Heathertones, and it was made. They were sort of in the Andrews Sisters level harmony kind of thing. But because of it, she would the quartets would be the transitional group into girl rock. It's one of the first transitions into girl rock at all. Right. With harmonies and stuff like that. And so she was in not the first issue of the group. You know, they trade up members when someone gets sick or pregnant or married.
One of them got pregnant or something.
One of them got pregnant. Right? Can't zip that skinny dress up anymore. Mom jumps in to do car shows in the road. And so I go on the road. So I have that. Very early indoctrinated into the road, you know, and I would see comedians. I would see comedians going on first. And I go, oh, now wait a minute. That doesn't require any music training.
It's so funny that, you know, your brother's a musician.
He's so good.
Duh. I mean, and you've said that you got your timing, not from your father, but from your mother. I've read that.
Mom gave me my wordplay.
Right.
Dad gave me that sort of a cool thing you can do with it. But Dad mostly hipped me to the people who did do it. Right. Because being a jazz guy, you have to be cool. And as we know, cool is kind of not the best friend of comedy.
Right.
Cool, because cool is what you don't show in the way of vulnerability, which is really required for the gig to work. You know? And so he's kind of in an interesting position there, in a corner in a way, because you got to be a cool jazz guy. Right, you can't give that up for those other parts.
I mean, there's not.
You wish, unless your people are booty or something like that, you don't really get that. So he was kind of laying it on me really early, like maybe you, and it was true. He called that one. You know, parents don't always call their suppressed dream upon the child, but this one it worked. So I'm grateful.
You know, it's it's so true. I have never met an uncool jazz musician, not ever. I mean, and it's a whole other level of cool. It's not even like, and you can't fake it. You cannot fake it. It's like. No. I mean, I go listen to jazz all the time, and I'm fascinated because it's so communicative, you know, and it's so organic, and it's so like, how the fuck, I mean, I don't know. It's like otherworldly to me. You know what I mean? It's like ESP. I don't know. I fucking love jazz. And you know, I was doing research on you, which then led me to watch like 1,000 Thelonious Monk videos, and his hands, you know, because you look at his hands, and, you know, I took piano lessons forever. I was a music major, but never did anything with it. But, you know, his hands are in the wrong, if any teacher would be like, stop that, you know? And it was just straight fingers, and it's going all over the fucking place.
Two fingers and hit the two notes at once. Get that bebop. You know.
Oh my God. Okay. So you're a little boy. Your mother's a beautiful, by the way. I mean, everything I read about her, she was stunning, and she's traveling, you know. Did they get married? Was it like this big love story? Was it, you know, oh my God, I'm in love with you? And were you planned? Do you think you were planned? Because I mean, for a woman to go on the road with her baby then, you know, was unusual.
Well, truth be known, we were both what we were described as wonderful accidents.
Oh.
So it wasn't really in the book.
Right.
Yeah. You know, Dad was a pretty big virile dude, and, you know, it's only a matter of time, really.
Right. You lived in Forest Hills, right? Up until what, 6, 7? How old were you?
Moved out in 66 because a certain somebody found
So you
found
were
a
8.
pad to live here for us and Dad.
So you're on
Two
the
guys
road.
did, yeah.
Right. Well, you're on the road with your mother.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes it would happen. Sometimes it was fun. Get to go out more than I was little. Once school started, I had to sort of stick around, and that has sort of becoming a pressure on Mom. Then who's going to stick around for Mom when Dad's
especially
at work, teaching at Juilliard or the New School or whatever. So back then, sort of your job is you gotta, and you have now Steve on the way. There's just no way. We can't afford to have a daycare scenario or whatever it is. So it became a problem, and Mom felt that her dream was sort of going into the thing because of that. And that stayed with her whole life, you know, on one level or another. And then she reformed the group later, and it felt better to get her voice out there again.
So she basically, so what do you all you remember about going on the road with her? You remember there was a comic and they were car, and you love cars.
Yeah, George Burns, my George Burns story. We were out at this, and I think it was the Ohio County Fair, but there was a pool by the hotel, and there was also a little tiny putting course that I, for some reason, decided to turn into a driving range. And I I hit that ball, and it went into the pool. I didn't really plan that part, but it was a good accident because then this old cat with bald and crispy brown in the sun, and he just went. Bruce went down, came up. Here you go, young man. I know that voice. George Burns.
Oh, my God.
Because I'm George Burns. And he says, can you find a pen? And as he was signing George Burns on the golf ball, I did a joke and I got a laugh at him. I said, wow, George really burns. And, you know the senior approval laugh.
Yes.
It wasn't really like a real laugh, but it was an acknowledgement that I would never forget.
Right.
And that was kind of a formative moment to,
I'm funny. It was a validation. That's fucking
that's a big one right there.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
So your brother comes and Dizzy Gillespie calls.
Yeah.
Because you're friends with, were you aware at this age of who these people were and what they meant to the culture of our country and music? And
not entirely.
Yeah.
But I know what they meant to my parents.
Right.
And that was my universe at that point. So their approval was kind of a pretty good standard guide.
Right.
For what's probably, this is something I should pay a lot more attention to. And I tried the music thing a little bit, but that's my brother's deal. That's for Steve. That's his thing.
Can you tell me, Dizzy Gillespie calls and says, look, there's a house next door. Like how did you end up moving to Englewood, New Jersey?
Well, Diz.
Oh my God, you said Diz. Okay.
Yeah, that's what everyone said. Hey, Diz is coming over for dinner tonight, and Thelonious too. Maybe. You know, he doesn't always. He's in his world, so he'll make a plan and always not. You know, so we would have dinner table get-togethers because both of them thought that Dad should move out to Englewood because parking was getting nuts in Forest Hills, Queens, in '66. Parking was getting nuts.
Still bad. It's still bad.
It was what? There was parking before that in '65. I don't know. No one remembers parking in Queens. You buy a spot for $1,000 a month.
Right.
So that's what we did. We moved out to the flat part down on the bottom, near Dwight Morrow High School, where I wound up going to school with John Travolta. Yeah.
Oh my God. So who were you?
I wasn't Richie Lewis's. I wasn't his generation.
Yeah. I know you're very young.
A little later, just a tiny bit later, but everyone was talking about him.
Yeah, they were.
Well, they were saying he was great and funny and all that stuff. And when I was trying to move my way into Funny Town, people would go, yo, you're another one of those Lewises, huh?
Yeah. You're in Englewood, New Jersey. You're surrounded by these people are coming in and out of your house, these incredible people. Like, did you know you were different than these other kids? Like, because I grew up in New Jersey.
Where were you, Judy?
I was in Clark.
Yeah, you guys, what was your sport? Ours was basketball. What was your kill sport?
No, they loved football and
football.
The KKK and the KKK.
We weren't that good with, we weren't as strong with they were what? Were they really?
Yeah, they had a lot of like cross burn. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, Jersey's not all one thing.
No. Did you know that your childhood was filled with so much stuff that other kids didn't have? Like, were you aware of that?
To a certain degree I was, though I wouldn't have, I wouldn't go around acknowledging that.
Right.
Get your ass kicked for one more reason.
Right.
But it would be, though it was a community of other artists and their children.
Right.
A lot of New Yorkers who wanted a Manhattan suburb, which is what Englewood was ultimately supposed to be.
Right.
Or Englewood Cliffs, certainly.
Yes.
And a lot of times because of the way school zoning was arranged, the kids from the Cliffs would come down and go to Dwight Morrow with the kids from the flat part.
Right.
The middle class guys like me.
Yeah.
And so we would hang out with the ones who had all these other things in their lives because it was very much an arts community kind of based town, though. And at that time, I think that was the case. I don't know if it's still the case, though. I hear things just changed as they do.
Yeah.
I hope their departments are as strong. And someone should make sure that they are.
What was school like? Just regular? Did you play sports? I mean, you're 6'4",
They bugged me about it, but
same.
Not really interested at all.
I
got other shit to do, man. I got jokes to tell. I got things to create. I don't want to spend time just ruining my knees at this age,
So you are in high school and with John Travolta. And
he didn't stay for his last year either. He was gone doing Grease.
What was he like? What was he popular? Was he like? Was everyone like, oh my God, that's John Travolta? Or like,
just a little bit. It was starting to be a little bit after his Coke commercial.
Right. And then did he? Was he in the school play or anything?
I don't remember hearing about it. If he was, that isn't how we knew him. He was kind of off doing bigger stuff than school plays by the time everybody talked about John Travolta.
Yeah.
So I was in flying school with him with Miss Patton.
No way! With Miss Patton?
Dwight Morrow, Ms. Patton. And she was one of the first female pilots in America at the time. And she was in the WACS, Women's Air Corps.
Right.
And she's tough, badass gal.
You think she was a leslie?
Oh, clearly she was. And she had a sweetheart in the school.
That's right, baby!
And everyone knew about both of them. No one gave the remotest shit. We all wanted to learn how to fly, and we're completely confident with her teaching us how to get that Cessna up off the ground.
Right.
So my first flying experience is pulling that yoke back.
Right.
Don't go too fast to keep it steady. Keep watching the artificial horizon. All of that. I know that because of Ms. Pat. All my ability to fly right now is based on her.
Do you find it interesting that a lesbian taught John Travolta, and yet John Travolta cannot come out of El Closeto? Mm-hmm.
It's a very homophobic and sexist action film industry for action, and it might be different if he weren't known so much for the action stuff, but because he plays these heroes.
I know, but it's so stupid.
I'm not defending
Rick.
it. I'm saying that's what the battle in the head is, though. It's a torturous battle. But it's also
Scientology. They can't. You know what I'm saying,
so,
baby?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying, baby?
They don't like admitting to certain things, but I think everyone's model of how this works is outdated, and they don't need to be afraid of it as they have traditionally held on to being.
Right.
And tradition isn't always up to date, as we know. And so they could probably introduce another kind of hero now if they did it the right way and didn't pander and talk down about or virtue signal about. If you just had this person be a motherfucker, and go like full Jason Bourne on something, you let the rest of it go.
Well, look
You
at
just
the
want to see
football
the
player.
goods. People just
He just comes out. He's like, I wish I didn't have to do this. Blah. But then we find out he's a Trump supporter, so whatever.
This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself. You can process and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it and you sit there and you wait. And then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome.
Okay, so you leave high school. By the way, I know you say you're not musical, but you do play the harmonica.
I do play the harmonica. I think I'm pretty good on the old harp because thank you, Uncle Robert Klein. Love you, Robert Klein, ding. And also thank you, Mrs. Wilson in 4th grade.
I love
fifth
you,
grade.
Mrs. Wilson.
I love you. Yeah, she encouraged my creativity on every level and even my music and my ability to sing when I was singing, the national anthem and all of that. She would be encouraging to me. So there's like only a handful of people that really said, besides my parents, you might be able to actually do something with that. And so I went forward thanks to these individuals and their encouragement in my life.
Okay, so there you go. Just like your father, teachers influenced your life for the best. This is dedicated to teachers. Yes, this is dedicated to teachers all over the world. Okay, so you started doing stand-up in high school as a team, Overton and Sullivan.
Overton and Pastor was the first team. In high school, it was Overton and Pastor. And Anthony Pastor was, and if it's in Wikipedia, we need to fix that. I'll get on it. Thank you.
I don't usually use Wikipedia, but whatever.
Okay, good. It's so Anthony Pastor, who is now a very, very successful salesperson in the meat industry across the nation.
Right.
He does giant allotments, millions of bucks at a time.
Right.
And his dad was in that biz. But while we were in high school, we were the 2-man team and we would do assemblies and get laughs doing skits and stuff like that. We were doing morning announcements with characters and voices. Remember, there were morning teams that would do all the sound effects back then on the radio. We're kind of like, well, maybe we got a little place for us in that radio scene before we go live somewhere. And then his world took him down to Florida to get back into the real world again, and the sales thing. And immediately he took off to be great. So I was like, I need a partner. God, I can't really do this on my own. I got to find a guy. My buddy Bill Spitz says, I got the guy for you, Roger Sullivan. He's this wild man, inventive, creative, Marty Feldman kind of dude. And so Roger and I went to Watkins Glen, did acid, and started doing a sketch together.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And while the band was on stage, dong, dong, boom, 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 setting up, we did like a bit for a half hour that had a huge circle of people all looking around at us at the end and applauding. And we said, oh, man.
This is it.
We have to do a comedy team. And then we did for 5 years. But the problem with the team is, of course, they're only paying you for one increment of time. And now it was artist. You're a genius. You were a virtuoso tonight. You were magnificent. Now it's whose premise was more important than whose punchline.
Right.
Who owns the car? Who pays the gas? Who's booking the gigs? Who's putting the time on the phone?
Right.
And that marriage is done. And
It's real. Yeah, it is a marriage, you know, it's like, and you really have to make sacrifices and you get paid half the fucking money. It's ridiculous.
I don't know how they do it unless they brokered a great deal for what they got. You know, they got to figure this part out. It's two people. I don't know. So all props to the genius of Roger Sullivan. You know, he did a little bit of his own stuff on his own afterwards, like I did. And then in a series of unfortunate things and an illness claimed him, and his heart took him.
R.I.P. Okay. You then went to the Improv on 44th between 9th and 10th in the early 70s and started doing solo stand-up, correct?
78 would be when Roger and I split up. And then I went back to the places where we were when we were the two of us. And sometimes it was awkward because Roger'd be there too. And hey, man. And, oh, God. You know, good set. Yeah, good set.
Yeah, shit. It's so uncomfortable, but
I don't know what to do, but this is where we work.
Did you ever?
Is this the place?
Did you ever see him do something you guys and you were like, oh, that's mine? Yeah.
Well, only to a degree, and he was very thorough about trying not to do that.
Right.
And he should have. He should have done more. He put so much work into some of that there, but he was going to do his own thing, and it just
stubborn. Didn't
stubborn, and it wasn't going where it ought to.
So
it should have. He was very esoteric in certain ways, and he needed another boost. He needed another partner. Yeah. I think he needed another partner. I think so.
You're who's at the Improv in the late 70s? Who were the acts there? I mean, I know you worked with Andy Kaufman.
Elaine was there all the time. The unsung heroine. Look at her influence even on I'm Dying Up Here, which, by the way, your work took my breath away. You got me to actually cry.
Oh, my God. I love you, Rick.
I love you right back. Your work was breathtaking on that show. I would sit back. I would replay it, just watch you. But just revealing what this is like. And for a woman, and for you to then embody a comedian back then when it was really a boys' club. You know this world so well. You played her to a brilliant T, and you should have gotten more acknowledgement for it.
Oh, Rick, I love you.
Deserve it of an award. Oh, you took my breath. Brad Garrett also took my breath. He made me cry too.
Yeah.
Remember when he's hanging on the ledge and he goes, and he's tired and he's crying in that scene?
Right. He's amazing.
And he's getting me right now. Yeah. So any day of the week, I would so love to work with you again one day, you know, and have more scenes together.
Yes.
Have more scenes because we had great stuff. We just, you know, where we were. But I thought that show had more places to go. Don't you?
I do. Yes, I totally did. I don't know what the fuck. It's just like TV is so weird. You know, there's so many great things and they just don't get made or they get cut off or whatever. But that was the first time anyone really gave me this opportunity to show that I could act. And I was so hoping I would get other work. Motherfuckers.
This is a weird business. Ladman was magnificent.
Yes,
magnificent and perfect. And all the guys were. It's every comic who went on there showed one whole other deal going on with them, and that they should be taken seriously for other kinds of stuff.
Right. So you're at the Improv. Boozler, I've had on the podcast. I talk to her all the time. She is, there were two people I think that really had a profound effect on me as a little girl, and all through. You know, Joan Rivers was a huge influence on me. But when I was in high school,
thank you, Joan.
Exactly. And when I was in high school, I would watch Elaine, and I was like, it was mind-boggling. Like, I'm like, this, I can do this, but she's fucking genius. I mean, her body of work is unbelievable. And I feel like, I spoke to her recently and she's done, like you can't fight that much more, she's living her life. And it's so sad that for women. It
looks like Italy is doing nice things for her.
Yes.
Viva Italia for those two.
They're
just going to all the sites and kicking it back with the local food and all that stuff. So million blessings and much joy to those two. They've earned some of that.
That absolutely. And she's incredible. All right. So who was in your class?
Andy was there a lot. And,
and she was
back in 78.
They went together, right? Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
And I a lot of people don't know, I was the first guy to take the pitcher of water from Tony Clifton.
No way.
Yeah. Roger's right in the early days when I was start breaking apart with Roger.
Right.
And so, guys, we don't know if we have a set for you tonight. Well, then I'm going to do the plant thing with him. And he's like, oh, come on, man. What? Then we can't be the team afterwards. We don't have that tonight. Right. So I'm going to do this. And so the thing is, I got to be an audience guy. I got to sit there the whole time and be a regular audience guy.
Right.
So he can go, you down front. You want to see what I think is funny? Get up here. Yeah. Yeah. Splash.
Oh, my God.
There you go. Boo. Boo. You're an asshole. I'm going to talk to the manager out the side door, the New York side door.
Yeah, I love that side door. Yeah.
And then I come around the back, I towel off, and I watch the rest of the shit. Where he goes, I was only trying to make you laugh. And then he goes into, when they hate him, get him back again from the hatred. So I was the trigger for the hatred.
That's so... I mean, I try to tell people what that side door was. I mean, because... there were times when I was on stage and, other comics would be banging on the door, or
hey, I forgot. Did I leave a joke here?
Yeah. That place was really something special. And they had the best homemade French fries. Anyway, he used to fry the potatoes.
Yeah, they were wedges, the Salvador Dali fries.
Yeah.
Hangover.
Yes. Oh, they were so good. Yeah. Who else was there? Richard Lewis.
Bells.
Belzer.
Bells and I remember all the time. It was also Jack Grayman.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of the house. Get the fuck out of the house. I have a very funny Studio 54 story. I'm trying to sneak in the back of Studio 54 because sometimes it's like Coke break or
right.
Weed break, guys who go outside to smoke some weed and they leave the cracked door open in the back. And sometimes the guard's not there. And you just like, ha, 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 you walk back in like you're a friend, And so there's this guy sitting on the step out right behind by the door outside. And I think it's Grayman.
Right.
And so I go, hey, Jack. And he goes, hey. Because he just thinks I'm going, hey, Jack, hey, pal, hey, bub.
Yeah.
Like that. And I get closer and closer. It's Kurt Vonnegut.
No way!
And he looks just like Jack,
Right.
Mustache, hair, like that. And he was like, he couldn't take the noise. And we just sat outside for an hour and I talked for an hour with Kurt Vonnegut.
Oh my God.
Thinking it was Jack Grayman.
That's hilarious.
And he used to go on stage as Burt Vonnegut Jr. He would do that character. And so that's
hilarious. And by the way, the improv, I went there too, but in the mid 80s, Silver, Friedman was the booker, Bud Friedman. She was married to Bud. Bud left and opened in LA. Silver was out of her mind, but whatever. But
I just saw Bud.
You did? How is he?
He's good. He's
I love
good.
Him.
I love him. He's there.
Yeah.
He's there. Right there. And his mind is right there.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with the thought processes.
Right.
This is about the channels to get it out, the communication devices.
Mouth. Yeah.
That's all. That is all. Because you see him fight for exactly the word he is looking to say. And he knows it. And you know it too.
Yeah.
And so he is absolutely clear of thought. And don't worry about any part of that. His struggle is how to get these messages out. And everyone gets it. Everyone gets the basic idea.
Yeah.
It all works.
Yeah, he was good to me. So thank you, bud.
Mark Price set that up for us. So thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you so much for listening to part 1 of Kill Me Now with the legend that is Rick Overton. I just love everything about this guy. He's just a class act. Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel, edited by Colin Schmaling. This podcast would not be possible without the help and love of Brittany Jo Sowards. Now, if you have not subscribed to the show and left a review, then there's something wrong with you. Like, there's something wrong with everyone, but just please subscribe, leave a review, 5 stars, tell your friends about the show, and then you can talk about it amongst yourselves. Also, go to my website, judygold.com. You can buy my book there. Yes, I can say that. When They Come with Comedians, We're All in Trouble. You can hear about everything I'm doing. You can look at old photos. There's a lot you can do on that website. It's clickbait, baby. You know what I'm saying? Also, if you're on the Cape, come see me in Provincetown. I'm performing through Labor Day. Yeah, I'm doing other things. I'm in Minneapolis in September. I have gigs coming up. I'm coming to Florida. So just, check it out on my website, judygold.com. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at judygold, JEWDYGOLD, because I'm Jewish. Ding dong. Also, I say it every week. If you're not vaccinated, fucking get vaccinated. The world doesn't revolve around you and your fucking conspiracy theories, okay? I'm excluding people with autoimmune problems who can't get vaccinated. The rest of you are fucking assholes if you're not vaccinated. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of the summer. That's it. I love you all, and thank you all so much for listening. I have the best fans. I mean, all 4 of them. And as we always say, so long.
Don't forget to tune in next week to Just Kill Me Now.
It's Just Kill Me.
Oh. Don't forget to turn for part 2 on Just Kill Me.
No, it's not. It's
Just Kill Me.
No.
Judy Gold's Just Kill Me.
Just.
Just Kill Me Now.